Hello, I'm Caroline Weaver from Body and Soul Companion, and you are on week 25, day 4 of the spiritual exercises of Ignatius. Today, we do an imaginative contemplation in John 9, 1 through 41, the healing of the man born blind. And Jesus, the last where we left off was the story of Mary and Martha. And in between the story of Mary and Martha, chronologically, Jesus has had more and more opposition from the Pharisees, and he's engaged in debate with them. And also, he's done a big no-no according to the law. He's healed on the Sabbath once already. So he's already in the doghouse with the Pharisees. Um, so the whole idea is Jesus is trying to say love versus the law. The law says you can't heal on the Sabbath, but Jesus was talking about love. And even in the story of the Good Samaritan, we know that he was talking to that religious ruler and he said, these are the commandments: love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and then love your neighbor as yourself. And who is my neighbor? It's all about love. It's not about law. And so the Pharisees don't get that because he's healing a man born blind, but we're looking at the blindness of the Pharisees and even a little bit of spiritual blindness from his disciples, because his disciples don't fully know who he is. And so this story is maybe looking at where's your spiritual blindness too. So I invite you to close your eyes, and I'm just going to give a little bit of background, but I just want you to be able to focus and center your scattered senses on the presence of God. So go ahead and close your eyes and breathe slowly. And recenter your scattered senses on the presence of God. One other thing the Pharisees are focusing on in this story is the fact that Jews believed that blindness was a sign of sinfulness. And Jesus is also rubbing against that and denying that that's true. Just forgot to mention that part of the background. So I just invite you to find a position that is comfortable for you, where you can be relaxed but alert. As you breathe deeply, let your body relax into your chair or wherever you are. And with each breath, not only letting go physically of any muscles that are tense, but also letting go mentally and emotionally of any worries or stressful thoughts. Imagine yourself putting them all in God's hands for this sacred time set aside. And then become aware of God's presence looking upon you with love, receiving His loving gaze. Lord, we pray that more of our day would be directed to your service and praise. And we also pray for the grace to see you more clearly through this story, that you would help to open our blind eyes, our own spiritual blindness, and see you as you truly are, Jesus. and that we would love you more dearly and follow you more nearly. So you might want to, maybe as I'm reading this, think about who you might be in the scene. You might be the man born blind. Then when I get to looking at the scene, you won't be able to see it at first. Perhaps you are just someone walking with Jesus or one of his disciples or a bystander. Just since it's a long passage, I want to give you some time to think about it even before I read it, who you might be in the passage. I think I'll be a bystander. John 9, 1 through 41. I'll read it slowly. As Jesus walked along, he saw a man blind from birth. His disciples asked him, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? Jesus answered, neither this man nor his parents sinned. He was born blind so that God's works might be revealed in him. We must work the works of him who sent me while it is day. Night is coming when no one can work. As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world. When he had said this, he spat on the ground and made mud with the saliva and spread the mud on the man's eyes, saying to him, go wash in the pool of Siloam, which means sent. Then he went and washed and came back able to see. The neighbors and those who had seen him before as a beggar began to ask, is this not the man who used to sit and beg? Some were saying, it is he. Others were saying, no, but is someone like him. He kept saying, I am the man. But they kept asking him, then how were your eyes opened? He answered, the man called Jesus made mud, spread it on my eyes, and said to me, go to Siloam and wash. Then I went and washed and received my sight. They said to him, where is he? He said, I do not know. They brought to the Pharisees the man who had formerly been blind. Now it was a Sabbath day when Jesus made the mud and opened his eyes. Then the Pharisees also began to ask him how he had received his sight. And he said to them, he put mud on my eyes, then I washed, and now I see. Some of the Pharisees said, this man is not from God, for he does not observe the Sabbath. But others said, how can a man who is a sinner perform such signs? And they were divided. So they said again to the man born blind, what do you say about him? It was your eyes he opened. He said, the man born blind, he is a prophet. The Jews did not believe that he had been blind and had received his sight until they called the parents of the man who had received his sight and asked them, is this your son? And that he was born blind. But we do not know. Oh no, I skipped. Is this your son who you say was born blind? How then does he now see? His parents answered, we know that this is our son and that he was born blind, but we do not know how it is that now he sees, nor do we know who opened his eyes. Ask him, he is of age, he will speak for himself. His parents said this because they were afraid of the Jews, for the Jews had already agreed that everyone who confessed Jesus to be the Messiah would be put out excommunicated from the synagogue. Therefore, his parents said, "He is of age, ask him." So for the second day, they called the man who had been born blind, and they said to him, "Give glory to God. We know that this man is a sinner." He answered, "I do not know whether he is a sinner. One thing I do know, that though I was blind, now I see." They said to him, "What did he do to you? How did he open your eyes?" He answered them, "I have told you already, and you would not listen. Why do you want to hear it again? Do you also want to become his disciples?" Then they reviled him, saying, "You are his disciple, but we are disciples of Moses. We know that God has spoken to Moses, but as for this man, we do not know where he comes from." The man answered, "Here is an astonishing thing. We do not know where he comes from, and yet he opened my eyes. We know that God does not listen to sinners, but he does listen to one who worships him and obeys his will. Never since the world began has it been heard that anyone opened the eyes of a person born blind. If this man were not from God, he could do nothing." They answered him, "You were born entirely in sins, and are you trying to teach us?" And they drove him out of the synagogue. Jesus heard they had driven him out, and when he found him, he said, "Do you believe in the Son of Man?" He answered, "And who is he, sir? Tell me, so that I may believe in him." Jesus said to him, "You have seen him, and the one speaking with you is he." He said, "Lord, I believe," and he worshiped him. Jesus said, "I came into this world for judgment, so that those who do not see may see, and those who do see may become blind." Some of the Pharisees near him heard this and said to him, "Surely we are not blind, are we?" Jesus said to them, "If you were blind, you would not have sinned. But now that you say we see, your sin remains." So see the scene described in the gospel story. Jesus is passing by somewhere when he encounters the man born blind. Imagine where he is. He might be in a town or walking along a road between villages. Look around you. The road, the buildings. If you're a disciple, you've been walking with Jesus for many miles. Just imagine the scene. Do you see trees or fields? How many people are around you? What do they look like? What are they doing? What kind of day is it? Is the sun out or is it cloudy? Is it warm or cool? If it's cool, you're wearing that extra tunic, that extra cloak over you. Feel the warmth or cool. Feel the breeze or stillness. What kind of sounds do you hear? Just pause to use all your senses in this scene, walking with Jesus. And then just remember where you are in the scene as a disciple or a bystander. And if you're the man born blind, you haven't seen anything, but you've smelled and you've heard and you've felt. Then see in your mind's eye Jesus approach the one born blind. And if you're the one born blind, how would you know that Jesus is approaching you? Observe the look on Jesus' face if you can see. What does he look like? And what is his attitude? And then here his disciples asked Jesus, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? And then here Jesus and this man, the man born blind, overhearing this, if you're the man born blind, neither this man nor his parents sinned. He was born blind so that God's work might be revealed in him. We must work the works of him who sent me while it is day. Night is coming when no one can work. As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world. You've just heard this as a bystander or as the man born blind. If you've been raised your whole life to believe that blindness was a result of sin, how would that make you feel? Resistance or reception? Do you feel hope for the man born blind? Or do you feel condemnation toward Jesus for going against what the rabbi said? And to hear him say, I am the light of the world. And then see Jesus spit. Hear the spit. And then lean down in the ground and make mud out of the dirt and his own saliva. And then see him spread it all over the man's eyes. How do you feel? And if you're the man born blind, how does it feel to have that mud spread on your eyes? And then hear Jesus say, go, wash in the pool of Siloam, which means sent. And then see the man, or if you're the man born blind, how would he stumble toward the pool of Siloam? Would he have like a stick? See him walk to the pool of Siloam. And then bringing the water and clearing out his eyes with the water. And if you're the man, feel the water on your face. And as the mud drains away, open your eyes and you see for the first time ever in your whole entire life. If you're a bystander, what is the expression on the man's face? And if you're the man, what do you feel? And then see the man not stumbling back, but in his full sight, being able to walk back. What would that have been like to walk back without any assistance or even a stick to feel? And then fast forwarding, see the people take the man born blind to the Pharisees. If you're the man born blind, how are you feeling about that? Just know it's the Sabbath day. So how do you feel about him doing it, breaking the law and healing on the Sabbath? So over here, the Pharisees say, "How did you receive your sight?" And then here the man, "He put mud on my eyes, then I washed, and now I see." And then here the Pharisees say, "This man is not from God, for he does not observe the Sabbath." And then here others say, "How can a man who is a sinner perform such signs?" And feel the division in the room. And then see them turn to the man born blind. "What do you say about him? It was your eyes he opened." What does the look on the man born blind's face look like when he says, "He is a prophet"? And then see the Jews call the parents over. "Is this your son?" Hear them say, "Who you say was born blind. How then does he now see?" And hear the parents say, "We know that this is our son and that he was born blind, but we do not know how it is that now he sees, nor do we know who opened his eyes. Ask him. He's of age." And just look at the faces of the parents. Do you see the fear of the Jews in their face? Because they knew they'd be ostracized from that synagogue if they confessed Jesus to be the chosen one, the Messiah, the anointed one. So see the blind man go the second time. And hear the Pharisees say, "Give glory to God. We know that this man is a sinner." And then hear, and if you're the man born blind, what's the attitude in your heart as you say this? And if you're looking at the man born blind, what's the look on his face as he says this? "I do not know whether he is a sinner. One thing I do know, that though I was blind, now I see." And then hear the Pharisees say, "What did he do to you? How did he open your eyes?" And then he said, I told you already. Is he exasperated? Hear the tone of his voice. And you would not listen. Why do you want to hear it again? Do you also want to become his disciples? And then they reviled him. So here they're reviling voices. You are his disciples, but we are disciples of Moses. We know that God has spoken to Moses, but as for you, for this man, we do not know where he comes from. And the man, look at the man born blind answering, here is an astonishing thing. Imagine if you're the man, what's your thoughts? Kind of snarky, actually, I think. You do not know where he comes from, and yet he opened my eyes. We know that God does not listen to sinners, but he does listen to one who worships him and obeys his will. Never since the world began has it been heard that anyone opened the eyes of a person born blind. If this man were not from God, he could do nothing. And then look at the expression on the Pharisees' face as they say, you were born entirely in sins, and are you trying to teach us? And then they excommunicated him, drove him out. And then Jesus had heard that they had driven him out. And then he goes to find him. So see Jesus going to find this man born blind who now sees. And hear Jesus say, looking face to face, and now the man can see his face, do you believe in the Son of Man? And hear the man born blind, or if you're him, and who is he, sir? Tell me so that I may believe in him. And hear Jesus say, you have seen him, and the one speaking with you is he. And then hear the man born blind, Lord, I believe. What does he do? It says he worshiped him. What do you see the man doing? And if you're the man, what would be your response worshiping Jesus? Hear Jesus say, looking at the man, I came into this world for judgment so that those who do not see may see, and those who do not see may become blind. And then look at the Pharisees who overheard this. Surely we are not blind, are we? And hear Jesus say, looking straight at the Pharisees, if you were blind, you would not have sinned. But now that you say we see, your sin remains. How do you feel about all those interactions? And where are you in this scene? So Jesus sought out the blind man, and now he seeks you out. See him coming toward you. What does he look like? What's the expression on his face? And see him look directly at you and say, look into his eyes, do you believe in the Son of Man? How do you respond? Continue to talk to Jesus. Share with him your feelings and reactions about everything that has happened with the one born blind. Is there resistance or reception? Have a dialogue. Respond to him and let him respond back to you. continue the conversation and be blessed.